Hey, good morning, everybody. Gabe Suarez here from Suarez Tactics. About to start my dry practice and then some lifting. And it is colder than a well digger's ass out here. But you know what? Aging is the quest of comfort, and so we're not doing that. Okay, now, so here's the thing. Today we're going to talk about. I don't know what we're going to call this. I'll come up with some sort of clever name. The truth about shooting and moving. That's a good one. That's what we'll do. Okay. So some of my folks on YouTube and Facebook, they sent me a couple of videos that were done talking about a scientific look at shooting on the move. Okay, and I want to address those because you know what, I'm not going to pick on these guys. I'm sure they were well-meaning, but you know it goes back to the three blind men and the elephant thing. A lot of people really don't understand because they've never been in a gunfight, and their entire view of reality comes from shooting on the square range against paper targets, not against another human being that's doing their best to kill them. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple of things. All right, so there are three, I guess, dynamics that need to be considered when we're talking about shooting and moving and gunfighting and so on. Distance, okay? How close you are to the bad guy, how close he is to you. Okay? This could be zero, where you have to use jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and stuff like that to get them off you so you can get to your gun. Okay? It could be 100 yards away, where you're standing here sipping your Bustelo, and all of a sudden rounds start hitting the ground in front of you. Maybe one of your comrades goes down. You have no idea where the bad guy is, but you know that he's out there and he's trying to kill you. Okay? Anywhere along that spectrum, it could happen. Okay? So distance is going to dictate the tactics that you use and the methodology that you follow. All right? I hope this video doesn't go too long, but this is important shit. Okay? All right. Number two, the initiative. Who has it? You or them? Okay? If I'm in a public place and, I see an active shooter over there wearing a black trench coat with an AR with their back to me, they have no idea that I'm on the same planet with them. I have the initiative. I get to sneak up behind them and blow their brains out. Okay? Not the same situation if we're talking about a gunfight that you are not expecting that starts and all of a sudden you have to react to it. Okay? So where you are on the initiative cycle is also important because that's going to dictate what you do. All right? And the final thing is timing. Okay? Where are you in your OODA cycle? All right? Because you could have no initiative whatsoever, but mentally you start thinking, you know what? I'm worried about that guy there. He's got a gun in his belt. He's starting to look at me. And maybe that starts to shift you a little bit from reactive to proactive. So these are things that you need to keep in mind. Okay? Now, let's look at this other side over here. Okay, so I teach getting off the X. All right? Now, I've already told the story where I discovered this. It was December 7th, 1991, outside of a 7-Eleven at 16th Street and Santa Monica Boulevard, where I had a gunfight against 3 LA gang members that have done about 8 armed robberies, shot a bunch of people. These guys probably had more gunfighting experience than anybody, on the shift that I was working that night. Okay? And so that's where I discovered shooting and moving. I've done videos, and I don't want to rehash that stuff. Okay? But it led to the discovery of what I teach. Okay? And what I teach is not this sideways shuffle while I'm trying to get hits on the A zone and all that range-based bullshit. Okay? I teach my people to explode off the X as fast as possible, just like Usain Bolt off the blocks in the Olympics. As they do that, they grab their pistol and they point shoot the motherfucker that's trying to get them. And if he hits, they hit here, they hit the knee or whatever, all those hits are good because it's going to prevent the other guy from continuing his plan. Okay? When we do force on force, we set up mock gunfights, drills, not scenarios, and guys go up against each other. All right? And what invariably happens is the guy that knows how to get off the X not only gets away from the bad guy's first shot, but he gets to hammer him between 4 to 5 times before the adversary catches up and maybe is able to get a second shot on board. Okay? Now, in force on force using UTM or airsoft, I prefer airsoft because they're not a communist company like UTM. If we're not using those methodologies and we're using actual rounds, if I'm able to put 4 to 5 spear plus P gold dots into your body, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to be able to fire a second shot on me because you're going to be dead. Okay? All right, so here's what happens. All right? So now when we teach close range gunfighting, it's close range gunfighting. Usually it's within 5 yards, okay, 15 feet. People don't have a lot of gunfights, reactive gunfights, I should say, at 10, 12 yards. I'm not saying it can't happen. The majority, and what this methodology works best for, is those, very close range. Okay, so there's the bad guy, there's you. If you guys have a gunfight and you shoot each other, you both lose. He shoots you, you shoot him. It doesn't matter that you have a 1.2 second draw. If his gun is already out, or if he has a 1.5 second draw, it's going to be a tie, which means you lose. You don't want it to be a tie, okay? All right, so he gets the draw first. There you are. It's within 0 to 7 yards, okay? You realize the fight's going on, so as you draw, you explode off the X to either the 11 o'clock or the 1 o'clock, and you draw, and you point shoot him as much as you can. Generally, it's going to be get to be about 5 yards, and I'm sorry, 5 yards. Get to be about 5 rounds, and the thing kind of concludes. Okay, all right. So now he's aiming here. His arc of travel is from here to here. Okay, from there to there. So it's considerable. It has to do with his observation and reaction cycle, and we can see this when we're doing drills in class. Okay, the bad guy's here, and all of a sudden he's got to shift because you've moved. Okay, and not only do you move and continue. Let me rephrase that. You don't move and then post in order to get your shots into the A zone. You haul ass, and your goal is to move around him and behind him. Okay, as you're shooting. Okay, not like these guys in the video did, where they take one step or they scramble, and then post up and all this kind of stuff because their focus is square range stuff, trying to get hits in the A zone. Listen, in a close range gunfight, the entire fucking body is the A zone. Okay? All right, so there we are. Now, 0 to 7 yards. Okay? Now, when we start extending beyond 7 yards, okay, let's say, look, this is a gray area, 7 to 15 yards. The 7 to 15 yard interval depends on your initiative and your timing, because that could go either way. It depends on a lot of factors. But once you get to about, 12, 15 yards and beyond, okay, here's the situation. He shoots at you, you get off the X. Okay, here's his arc of travel from there to there. It's about half of what it was from there to there. Do you follow? Okay, so, when you get to about 15 yards, your response to this problem, it needs to be changed slightly. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, now, you start getting to 25 yards and beyond, okay? So there's the bad guy, he's shooting at you, you move there, okay? So the bad guy's arc of motion is about half again, okay? So look at this diagram and consider, at what interval is dynamic movement important, and at what interval do you have to use something else? Now let's talk about this, okay? Option number 1, 0 to 7 yards. Option number 1, get off the X, okay? And what I'm talking about get off the X is you haul ass as fast as you can in this area. And at the point that you feel that he's starting to catch up to you, you break and you cut back behind him, okay? Just like we teach in the diagonal lines movement template, okay? That's also online, all right? So, option number 1, get off the X. That's what I did at the 7-Eleven. I got off the X and I killed the bad guy. The bad guy didn't kill me. Win, okay? All right, now, we start getting into this area here. Option number 2, okay? So I'll have you do some research. Wild Bill Hickok versus Dave Tutt, okay? Spelled T-U-T-T. It was a gunfight that Hickok had where, there they are. Tutt and Hickok, okay? Actually, it was more like in this area here, okay? And Tutt fired on Hickok and missed because it was far away. Hickok basically drew his pistol and fired and hit Tutt, okay? So option number 2 means that your ability to change the dynamic by getting off the X is minimized because of this variable. And so your best option in that circumstance is to rely on your marksmanship and your shooting ability to turn off the other guy, because moving off the X may not be as beneficial as it was in this distance interval, okay? So option number 1, 0 to 7 yards, okay? You see the problem developing, haul ass off the X as you draw your pistol, and you keep moving dynamically around this guy, okay? And you're point shooting, okay? You're not using your dot, you're not using your sights, you're point shooting. And I can teach you how to do that in class in about a half an hour, okay? And, you know, if it takes 15 rounds from your magazine all over his body to keep him from killing you, that's a win, okay? All right? Option number 2, Hickok versus Tutt. That fits into this realm over here. Maybe 10 years, maybe all the way out to 100. I don't know. Okay, it depends on you, your ability, and everything else. Okay, now I did want to talk about option number 3. Okay, you get outside in this area here. Option number 3. Okay, this is a circumstance that's never addressed on the shooting range because it's got nothing to do with split times and fast draws and scores and shit like that. Okay, but those of you that have worked in the real world operationally, you'll understand this. You're standing around here, you know, chatting with your buddy, talking to someone, all of a sudden, boom, round impacts into the wall behind you, okay? Maybe into the floor, maybe into your patrol car, okay? You have no idea who's shooting at you. You can't see them, and you're certainly not going to draw into a low ready and start scanning. What do? You get down, you get behind something, and you move off the spot where you're being targeted, okay? So this is option number 3. Get to cover and evaluate. You have no target to respond to at this point, so you know you try and look for one. Okay, but all 3 are important. All 3 are valuable skills, and this is the whole plethora here. So you know when you see people on the internet talking about shooting and moving, evaluate and if they're range based and marksmanship focused for this distance interval, you can almost guarantee that they have no gunfighting experience, at least not by themselves, okay? Now, this is not the same as when you have your pistol out and you're aggressing a target like you would in a direct action or a SWAT raid. That's a different type of shooting on the move. Yes, you're still shooting. Yes, you're still moving. But what's going on here and here are completely different, okay? It's got nothing to do with a reactive. You're being proactive. You're aggressing a target as if you're moving down a linear conveyance or a hallway or something like that. I've done that with an MP5. It's a lot of fun. Okay, but it's got nothing to do with what we're talking about here. Okay, what we're talking about here is reactive gunfighting, and what those other folks are, they're guys that have never been in a gunfight by themselves. They've always been in a gunfight in a team setting. It's apples and oranges. Okay, all right. So anyway, this is getting on 13 minutes here. I don't want to get too long. That's it. If you have any questions, post them. I'm going to put this up on my Patreon page. And then after maybe a few weeks, it's going to go up on regular social media. You have any questions on this, let me know. Now, if you want to learn this, come to Prescott and do a force-on-force class with me later this year, okay? It will change your mind. It'll change your view about what gunfights are like, just like the killing within the law material will change your mind about what the aftermath is like. Okay, got to get to training. Ciao.